I woke up in the car, and I was laying on my right side across the back seat. I sat up, and my Uncle Jimmy was crouched down next to me in the foot area. He was a volunteer firefighter in the area and responded to the call. I was surprised to see him and asked what he was doing here and what happened. He told me that I had been in an accident, but I was going to be okay. He was holding my hand. I said, okay, and I just laid back in the seat. I laid there thinking, I'm lying face down on a bunch of broken glass, and I don't even care. This is weird. I had noticed everyone else was gone, and I didn't care about that either. Then there was this loud grinding noise and sparks. Uncle Jimmy said later that they were just cutting the door off to get me out, and then everything went black. He told me later that I was conscious the whole time when I was talking to him. They all thought I was fine, and I was the last person they extracted out of the vehicle. You have to understand that we were way out in the country, and we were all farm kids, so they had to pick and choose who they were going to remove because they only had a couple of ambulances at the time. I don't remember anything other than that at that time. Uncle Jimmy also told me that when the ambulance attendants tried to pick me up, that no matter where they touched me, it hurt so bad. He said that I took control, and I told him where to put the board beside me in the car. I did a one-handed push in the right direction and slid right on the board so they could strap me face down right into the ambulance. The next memories are a little fleeting. There were lines on the floor as they were wheeling me into the hospital, cold scissors going up the side of my legs as they cut my pants off, and apparently I was very angry that they were ruining my new jeans. My parents told me that they sent my sister and I to a big city hospital as the small hospital in Simcoe was not equipped to deal with these injuries, so they sent us up to Victoria Hospital in London. My next memory was actually my near-death experience. I don't know how much time had passed. I know now that I was in London. I was floating in the air above my bed. My father was beside me in the chair. His elbows were resting on his knees. His chin was resting in his hands. He had an off-white, long-sleeve kind of dress shirt, like the ones they wore in the 70s, and somehow I knew he was praying for me. And I was trying to make sense of all the bars and ropes that were attached to me. My right leg was up in the air and a cast on my left. I remember thinking that I was looking down at me. Strange, I thought. Why don't I care? I remember feeling intense love for my father, and then I was somewhere else. There were others there, and the overwhelming sense of love surrounded me, kind of like putting on a new skin. It was just so much a part of me. I can't describe it to others. I cannot describe the other people, though. It was like they didn't really want me to see them. I remember one of them saying, "Look, she's here." And another one turned and said, "You cannot stay. It's not your time." That's okay, I said. I want to stay. He came to me to hold both of my arms. "No," he said very clearly and slowly. "It's not your time." And he proceeded to push me back down. I remember struggling with him, and I was arguing, and wham, I was back in my body. And then I remembered this intense pain from my injuries, and then everything went black. And I still have fleeting memories of waking up, but I couldn't stay conscious for any amount of time for about 2 weeks. My parents told me later that they sat there for 3 agonizing days before the doctors finally told them, "Your girls are out of the woods." I spent 3 months in the hospital, and my sister 4 months, and they let her come home Christmas Eve. I mean, the experience was great. I talked to my dad about it about a month later. He listened to my whole story, and I knew he believed me, but he told me not to tell anyone because they would think I'm crazy. The whole experience changed my life. I was different. I could feel it. I had this big, exciting secret. Little by little, as time passed, other things started to happen to me. I now, to this day, have someone that talks to me, and I hear it very clearly. Not all the time, but in situations where I can actually help other people. Once I was transported to a place where a 5-year-old child was dying. She had 2 angels with her waiting, but they let me have some time with her because she had a message for her mom. That's another story for another time, but it's amazing. And another young man, who I know was killed in a truck rollover, came to me 7 days, almost to the exact time of the accident. He had a demon-like creature on his right with his hand on his shoulder and an angel to his left. And he came right into my living room. He was terrified. I immediately went into a deep prayer. I don't know for how long, and when this moment broke, I looked up and he smiled at me. The angel grabbed him around the waist and flew off, and the demon thing hissed and snapped at me for a moment and then flew off a different way. That too is a whole nother story. I know this sounds so unbelievable, but it's true. There are so many things like that that have happened to me since. It is wonderful, but kind of lonely, as I really can't talk about it. I even had a mouse like on the Green Mile, the movie. A wild field mouse came into my house and sat with me while I was going through a very hard time. Again, another story. But the clincher was that my sister came down to my house one day while I was away and killed it. Now, after you know my experience, I have a question for you. What happened to my sister? She's not the same, but she's the other way. She's not a nice person. She always was kind of mean and vindictive while growing up. But after the car accident, she started to do things to mess me up. It has got considerably worse over the years. I don't understand, but I stay away from her as much as possible. I've tried to talk to her so many times about these things, but she just puts me off. She just laughs at me and tells others that I'm nuts. Oh well, it really doesn't matter to me. Thanks for listening. It feels good to tell someone who gets it. I'd like to thank Annette for her NDE, and I would like to know again what you think would happen to her sister, because Annette had a profound experience and she came out to be a better person. However, according to her, her sister has not. Her sister kind of went the other way, and that's a little strange how we have come to understand NDEs and how people change because of them. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And remember, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and share. It means more than you know. Again, live long and live strong.